wants to know about our finances, like I've done a very long set of busking videos, like what busking is, you know, how much we make, even like what it goes towards. Like that's how we pay for music, and our music bill is very chunky.
I'm sure your kids are totally fine taking the subway by themselves, considering that you make them busk for money on subway platforms and on the street. I wonder how this family of 12 affords to live in New York City. Yeah, they're making their kids play for money on the street.
Like, do whatever you want, I guess, be a family of 12, do the whole instrument things. However, in New York City, these kids, I see them like busking on the street all the time. There'll be like 2 or 3 of them. They always have like kind of a crowd around them because they're like really good at violin or bass or whatever. But something about it feels like very culty to me.
Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, I'm back-to-back filming today. Back-to-back filming today, so I haven't changed my outfit. I'm so sorry. But this is a topic that I can't wait just to share with you what I found the channel. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know about the Happy Caravan family.
Happy Caravan. I'm a mom of 10 kids and we live in New York City. And today I'm going to talk about the most controversial thing that comes up in the comments and in like videos about us and stuff, and that is busking.
Probably already heard of them, yeah? I actually came across them, right? The reason why I came across them was because I was just doing my little thing. I was looking up loads of like van life things, because now loads of van life families keep on being recommended to me, and it's massively intriguing me. I want to do a whole video just on van life families, just because I found so many. Anyway, there was a point where this family was sort of living in this like trailer, campery, like trailer thing. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I'm pretty sure it was the trailer that the mum references. And there was like video footage of like her young kids like sleeping on the floor, sleeping in like doorways and all of this kind of stuff. And then the parents like literally having their own bed, and TikTok were like blowing up in arms about it. And I was about like, what the hell is happening over here?
How we sleep in the trailer. Here's where he sleeps. Here's where he sleeps. And this is where mommy and daddy sleep.
So I then grew, I was like, right, come on now, I need to know more about this. So I went on their TikTok, and before I literally just typed in the Happy Caravan, typed them in, and I was blown away. The amount of people who have made TikToks like going, what the hell's happening with this family, is mad. Like honestly, anyway, so I'm going to try and break it down. I might actually do a future video where I go more into detail about the different things that I've talked about today. I just want it to be like a brief summary and just to explain my thoughts and feelings on it, and just present some sort of knowledge that I found out about this family, because it quite a strange one. Reminds me of like the Von Trapp family singers, you know, off of Sound of Music. So you have Amber and you have Mark, and Amber is the mum, Mark is the dad. And they actually recently did this whole like sit down video. Or they didn't. She did this whole video where she was addressing where their money comes from, how they moved to New York, why they have so many kids. They are a very large family. What is it with all these families having like 1,000,001 children? There's like 12 of them, and they live in this quite expensive. I've forgotten what she said. She actually replied in a comment to how much money it was. I think it was like $9,400 or something a month for them just to live at this New York City apartment place. And all the kids do music. All the kids are classically music trained. Some of them go off to, is it Juilliard? Some of them like have been accepted on scholarship programs and all of this. And basically the mum and dad basically gave up their house, gave up where they lived in San Diego, I think, to eventually move to where they are now. They have lived in trailers, they've lived in apartments, they've actually been kicked out of those various different places. But we're going to get into this in just a minute, don't worry. The main thing that TikTok really had an issue with, right, was the fact that the kids pretty much on a daily basis go away and busk on the streets of New York, and many people have made videos saying that they've actually seen the kids in like, you know, like subway, like seeing them in like the subway and things, like busking. Loads of people have been making things about it.
Like they'll have 3 of them on a corner in Soho, 3 of them on a corner in the West Village, 3 of them on a corner in Midtown East on Madison, all busking for money. And I guess with a family of 12, like, that's what you have to do. But something about it feels very wrong and weird to me.
People are really concerned. They're like, oh right, so it's the whole reason why they live there, funded by the fact that their kids are doing this. Mum will argue that actually they busk and the only money they get for it goes towards their musical ventures. Comment saying like, the energy of this video is meh. I'm sure being responsible for that many kids is very stressful, but it is sad when kids have to support their family. And Amber from the Happy Caravan says, they are paying for music expenses. The video explains how we pay for everything else. Did you watch it? Also, my husband is trying to pivot careers. Graphic design has proved the dead end, so he is trying to get into fire safety design, but it takes training. And she does back this up in this video that she did, where she is basically explaining, I think this is a short from it, it was like a 45-minute long video over on YouTube, basically explaining how they got to the situation. Basically sold their house, they had money from that, they then moved. They originally moved because where they were, the kids weren't going to get much of like a much more musical experience, or they weren't going to be taught to a good enough degree.
One thing about San Diego was we just felt like we had reached the cap of what the kids could do with their classical music in San Diego. They were accomplished musicians and they had all studied violin or cello or viola since they were really little.
So they basically just like moved all the way down until they got to where they are right now. And Mark gave up his work, and now literally they're out there busking all the time. And the mum decided to start a YouTube channel and to start a TikTok. And you'll never guess who the management company is. Who's the management company? Sun Sky Entertainment. It's the same company that Alicia's bloody paired up with.
Then a management company contacted us, and they're a management company that manages, like, I really like the Doherty Dozen, so if they manage Doherty Dozen, like, so when they were like, hey, you're interested in management, I was like, yeah. I mean, the thing about management is you do pay them 25%, but
they blatantly know each other. She even goes on to say, sorry, the lighting suddenly changed. She even goes on to say what an admirable person Alicia is or whatever. I'm not here, this isn't an Alicia Doherty video, but they're managed by the same people. What is with this company who just seeks out these families of great numbers of kids? It does say that basically all of their their expenses are made from the fact that they do social media, i.e. and they film all the time. They do daily vlogs, they do like the whole TikTok thing. She says that she gets lots of money for ads and stuff.
Once the whole show thing was like, okay, that's not gonna work out, what we decided was like, okay, we can make like our own show, right? Like, if a video goes well, I can get paid like $1,000 for like a 3-minute video, which is like amazing, even though it sounds like, oh, that's such a good deal. Making a 3-minute video is actually really hard. Recently I had a video go well, and we ended up getting paid for like $1,000. And so some other videos also did well. So I'm like, well, if I can get paid enough thousands of dollars, that's rent, right? Mark is still kind of pursuing graphic design, but part of the way I'm able to do a lot of the social media stuff, which is like hours and hours of editing, is that he helps with the meals and he helps with the cleaning.
But her kids are still out there during the day busking. They're out there busking to make money for their musical thing. What happens if some of the kids just don't want to do that anymore? I've got so many questions about it, and I'm not 110% convinced. Maybe me just being completely wrong, but I just feel like it's a little bit, there must be a little bit of like forcing going on over here. Like, what child just wants to get up and be like, right, I'm gonna go busking today, like every single day of the week, and apparently this is like paying for their musical things? What would happen if their kid just didn't want to do musical stuff anymore?
Anyway, so when we're out busking, people are pretty generous, and I'm super grateful for that, because it definitely does help with the cost of that.
I don't even know, but yeah, they basically make a living through the kids working for them, not only being filmed, but also out there busking every single day. I'm like, why aren't the parents going out there busking? I'm just, honestly, the whole thing, Von Trapp Family Singers, it's literally like that. And sure, does it look quite like quirky and cool when you see it on TikTok a couple of times? Yeah, but I don't know. I do just find it ultra strange. They are also homeschooled, and I believe they've always been homeschooled. And I'm not saying that in like a degrading term for, oh my gosh, like your child's homeschooled. That's not it at all. I'm saying it in the fact that those kids literally live on top of each other, and they also like go out busking every single day together. They're with each other all the time. It's like a little bubble. And because they've like moved up from where they were, the friends, I don't know, maybe I'm being too judgmental, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say when I think it's a very, very, very strange dynamic. Amber, the mum, does actually seem quite nice. She seems quite genuine, but I just know from past experience of thinking that about family vloggers or thinking that about some creators, and really it was a great big facade. Who really knows? The light is literally just not lighting today. Their story of how they actually got there is extremely strange as well. So she says that the whole entire reason why they're there, it's like what I've already said. They left because they wanted to be able, they couldn't go any further with their musical ventures and things where they were in San Diego, so they basically ended up moving down, and they ended up being like, I think it was 2 different places. She mentioned this like trailery type thing, and then I'm pretty sure she also mentions an apartment. Basically mentions that on one of them they used to all be practicing their music all the time, and they used to get like noise complaints, so she'd have to like send her kids to like the local graveyard to play music.
In the graveyard, there's crypts and so forth, and sometimes they would practice in the crypts. Thankfully we don't watch horror movies, so the kids weren't scared. There's like kind of weird structures. San Francisco is a really interesting place, so there's these weird places for the kids to practice that at least were sheltered from the rain. Also the laundry room at the trailer park. But I think we were annoying, and sometimes we practiced next to the trailer, but there was a lady behind us that had no tolerance for noise, and so she was like, oh, you know, like, you're making too much noise.
I know you hear from like rags to riches being like, oh, I had nowhere to practice, so I used to practice in the most random areas. I get that, but I do still think it's a little bit strange. And she often didn't even disclose the fact that she has so many children. She didn't bother disclosing it.
In comes us, you know, and we're like, we've got 9 kids, you know, and honestly, there came a point where I stopped volunteering that information because they're technically not supposed to ask. If they asked, I told them.
People obviously didn't like the fact that their kids were playing music at all hours of the day, or what, like classical music, like lovely, but who wants to be there just trying to chill through like paper thin trailer walls?
We were there for 2 months. We were at trailer park for 2 months, and they wanted us out, and in fact they evicted us at the end. But just as they evicted us, this other place in San Francisco had opened up its doors to us.
And talks about basically being like turfed out of the apartment that they went to.
There was another apartment in San Francisco that opened up that didn't ask us some bazillion questions, and so we were like, okay, great, let's just take it. The person that showed it to us said it was really soundproof. It was not really soundproof. They were trying to build a case that we were a nuisance because, you know, there was no real legal reason for us to not be there. What they had the upstairs neighbors do, it's kind of frustrating, the upstairs neighbors went along with it, but whatever, I understand, was record us. And the landlord told the upstairs neighbors, if you have any noise complaints, don't tell the neighbors downstairs, which was us.
Eventually now they're in New York and it's all good, but she did also mention the fact that she was gonna do a show. She was literally all up for doing this show about their family, but then the only reason why it didn't go through was because there was like a loss of revenue or something. Now I think that is ultra telling. They just want, like, I think if you sit there, and I admire her honesty, but I do think it's extremely telling when you're listening to this whole entire story, and about three quarters of the way through, she then goes, oh, we were approached to do a show and we were going to do it, but then, and then, you know, saying that money, network, whatever was happening.
So this is another thing, okay? This is like, back up. So spring of 2022, a little bit before that, there was a media company, and they were like, hey, you know, we'd like to, I can't say what the media company was because I signed like an NDA or whatever, so I can't say what it was, but so they were like, hey, we're interested in doing a show of your family.
I round it off with, oh, but it wouldn't have worked anyway. But the thing is that if you were actually offered money to do a show, she would have done it. So it does just make you think, like, what are your true what are your true intentions with all of this? Do you know what I mean? Like, why did you really move? Like, she says that they moved for the music and all of that, but at the end of the day, like, you're all just sort of like there busking on the streets, and then you are there all day, like sort of filming your kids and doing hair or whatever. And I'm sure the music is great, and I'm sure like her kids might love doing that. I mean, who knows? I'm not very musical, so who knows? Sure, your passion, whatever. But I do just think it's a little bit strange. Like, why can't the husband just go get a job? I just don't really get it. It feels like they're putting all their eggs into this one basket, and the fact that they basically were going to do a show and then it ended up falling through, and they're also managed by the same management company that Alicia is, it's just a little bit sneaky suspicious to me. There's a whole lot more to unpack about this family, so don't get me wrong, but this is just an extremely brief synopsis over just what I found, because I found them a few days ago, and I just wanted to share what I found, because these guys are really like, they come across as being ultra genuine and lovely and sweet, but I just can't help but feel that there is just a tinge of like, what is really happening? Like, I'm a bit confused. I'm not quite sure about motives, and I'm not really quite sure about what is happening here. And of course the concerns of the fact that she lets her kids just, I don't know if she lets her younger ones, I don't quite know the age ranges of who she lets go, but just like busking on the streets. And I get like busking as a thing, I do get that, and obviously I live on the planet, I understand that, but do they have adult supervision when they're doing this? And now that they're more known on TikTok and things, isn't that like a safety issue, a safety concern? What are they going to do if they seriously blow up online? Are they still going to do that? Because that would be a safety concern, do you know what I mean? Especially if there's like no parents around. Anyway, that's just what I think. I would absolutely love to hear your guys' thoughts and feelings, opinions on that. I will drop another video if you guys want me to, because I only wanted to make this short and sweet, but I do have other things that I can, obviously, that I've learned about them. There is a heap to know, because it's an interesting family to cover, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.